Hey guys, welcome to our webinar tonight on ChartSmart and Telehealth. I am super excited to roll this out to you and talk through how we're using AI tools inside of AR to make your life easier. This was a labor of love for me to get this launched, and we've had a great experience going through all the procedure notes and SOAP notes and follow-up notes and getting everything really ready for you and calibrated for aesthetics, specifically for our industry, to make this tool really useful in your practice. So I'm going to go through tonight a quick little overview of how ChartSmart works, what you can really expect from it, but then go into AR and actually show you how to do it yourself and how to take those transcripts, those dictation tools, and really create some great procedure notes and great follow-up notes, surgical notes, and SOAP notes in the system. So I've got some examples as well. I'm not going to actually dictate the whole thing here on our webinar tonight. It's a little bit too long to dictate, but I do have some examples for you. I'll just show how it will work. But we'll go through also a telehealth visit and see how that looks to bring in a patient and a second provider, and really soup to nuts the whole thing, how it works, what it costs you to do it, how it can hopefully simplify your options as a practice and make it better, easier, more compliant for you. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, but I do want to recommend that if you have not yet looked at the learning articles for this, that you go do that. I'm going to go through it again tonight kind of at a high level, but again, the learning articles have a very specific in-depth version of all of this and how to click the button and what to expect when you click the button, and really a more in-depth dive. So make sure that if you've not done that yet, go look at those articles. And also, if you have not done that, just play with it a little bit. Like, just kind of click around and do things with it and see what happens. So I think a lot of it's just exploring how this could work for you as a practice and seeing how it could affect your day-to-day. Also, if you have questions or you have comments, put them in the chat here on the Zoom call. So you can put them in the Q&A or as a chat. We'll get those answered tonight on the call, hopefully as best we can. If not, we'll give you a follow-up visit for that on email or in your intercom messaging system tomorrow to give you some answers. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started here. So again, ChartSmart, the only AI tool, to my knowledge, built specifically for aesthetics, built natively by us. I had a big part in that. We had some developers working on it as well. We built it. It's our system inside of AR. So it's all natively done. There is no third-party sharing with any kind of random group. It's all within our system and our version of our LLM. So safe and compliant there, HIPAA controlled, all the things you hear about, all the horror stories about your LLM sending out things for training. Not here. It's all HIPAA compliant, so don't worry about that. That's one thing we've already checked for you. So we're going to go through just briefly here what it could mean for your practice. So if you are a solo injector and you're spending time doing charting all day, every day, which it does take a lot of time, we have the quick little dot when you're looking at your actual face chart, but then to go in and physically do all the charting takes some time. So for you, the hope is that you can do this on your drive home from the practice, or if you're going to lunch, you can just a quick dictation tool, a quick little voiceover of what you've done that day, and then bam, it's into a chart. So hopefully to save you some time. If you are a true med spa with multiple people in the practice, all working in different rooms, then ideally you set up your process for what the chart should look like. So if you have a medical director who says, I want your charts to look like this, there's a custom prompt option, but also just to say, this is a procedure note that we're going to follow, the format we're going to follow. We're all going to do this thing. So if we all dictate the right information, we'll get the same kind of chart. So it's easier for him or for her to go through and just approve, yes, sign. And then lastly, if you're multi-unit enterprises, you want compliance to be top of mind because you've got too many things happening, too many folks running here and there and everywhere. So multiple locations, this is a huge benefit because if you're sitting here in Dallas, that the person sitting in Georgia is doing it the same way that they're doing it in California. So multi-tenant, multi-location compliance is huge, but also efficiency. The time that you waste with actually physically charting things, when you can just dictate it and have a tool do it for you. And I'll be the first to admit that even if I do chart myself, this is doing it better than I can do it. So because it's very methodical about how it wants those records to look. So even if you are a phenomenal charter who's always on time and it doesn't take up a lot of your day, the chart that you're going to generate with this tool is going to be better, more robust than if you do it yourself, because it just thinks of all the things. And so I have here on the right-hand side, you see like the note if I had dictated it. So if I've been talking, my dictation would be here. So it's just a long note with no formatting at all. What that looks like to me is just like a hodgepodge mess. And I want to make that very organized and very formatted. So if we think about how this works, as far as steps, our goal is to have the note that you see on the screen now, where it has, what's the reason for coming, what do we assess, what do we do, our treatment plan, our follow-up visit, all the things sort of in a really nice organized function. So really it's 4 steps. We're going to go through those tonight. I'll show you how those 4 steps work. Number 1, you're going to create your encounter. Easy. You know how to do that, either health or cosmetic. It works for both timelines. Second, you're going to record the encounter either by hitting the actual record button on your dictation and letting the thing run like an ambient charting tool. So let's say that you're in the room with me. We're going to do your toxin. I'm going to hit record on dictation and let it just record our whole visit. So obviously telling your patient up front you're being recorded, putting it into your consent. But frankly, as a medical procedure, recording is a bit of a different standard than if you're doing it like on a phone call, for instance. But you can record the whole visit and then take whatever was said in that room and make it into the notes. That's number one option. Number two is you can actually just do your dictation. So what I recommend is that you kind of go through your thoughts, dictate the whole thing in the end, and then you can make your note. Third, you're going to choose what kind of chart you want to make. So is this a surgery? That's a note. Is this a follow-up? That's a note. A procedure? That's a note. Or a SOAP note, your SOAP note. So whatever you want it to be, you can choose from those four or make your own custom prompt. So again, if you're a practice that says, I know how I want to chart, I've got a very specific way I do it, a very specific thing I want to add, you can do that. That's fine. You can make your custom prompt in the system. And then lastly, you can make your edits before you hit save. So if you want to add in any of your little @call tools, so any of your medical history tools, any of your dot phrases, or just change some things up that maybe didn't come through quite correctly that you know how you wanted to look, you can change all that up as an edit button before you go ahead and hit save. So you can, whatever you do dictate, whatever you actually build out, it's going to be in what we call markdown format. So you can go through and like make all your edits and tweaks before you hit save. So it's not locked in forever. You get a chance to actually go through it and make your edits and make it look exactly how you want it to look before you hit the save button. So that's how it works. So we're going to go ahead and look at AR and work on that. So I'm going to switch over to AR and show you how this looks from a perspective of a chart. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up our friend here, Anastasia. You guys know I love Anastasia. She's my girl. We're going to do two different versions of this for her, one being a cosmetic note and one being an actual virtual telehealth note. So she's already come in. I'm not going to use the actual virtual note from the telehealth visit. I'm going to actually use one that I'm going to make for her. So step one is we have to, again, have a procedure, right? That's step one. So we already have one here that we've already had her come in. She's done Dysport. She's done wrestle and lift. I have it here on the desktop. Again, this can be done on your iPad, easy. I'm just doing it desktop for your viewing pleasure. So you can do it wherever you want to do it, but I'm going to put it here on my desktop. So for an actual like cosmetic note, if you think about telehealth or think about the health timeline, you have that really nice procedure block. Well, cosmetic doesn't have that, right? So you're going to have to go over here to your view notes area, click on that. And when you want to start your dictation, you're going to click start dictation. It's going to play the whole time through. So you're not going to see anything on the screen, no notes anywhere. It's just going to keep talking. It's recording everything. We're doing our whole thing here. And when you finish it and you stop it, it will then transcribe whatever you've said into your actual dictation block. So you see right here, it's transcribed what I just said, a bunch of nonsense here in that blank. I'm going to give it an actual real chart though that we can look at, a real dictation, and use that instead. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this and delete that out. And I have made some here. So I'm going to look at my patient that just came in for her toxin and for her lift. And let's say that we're driving down the road on the way home from the office, and I'm going to dictate all these things that you see here. Patient's 42 years old. She has dynamic lines in her glabella region and her forehead, yada, yada, yada. Mid-face is, losing volume. So I've set all these things in my dictation tool. I hit the start button. I set all this, hit the stop button, and now I have what you see here. So one of the things with ChartSmart you could do is if you don't want to dictate, you can also type it in. So if you want to just type in your random thoughts, you could do that as well. I recommend just dictating it, but you could also just type it in. As you just saw, just hit copy and paste and put it in here, and now it's ready for ChartSmart. But ideally, the dictation is the best. So I'm going to go ahead and do no other edits at all. Just I would have hit my stop dictation and go ahead and do ChartSmart. Then we're going to come back and do some edits after that. So let's go to ChartSmart here. And as I mentioned, you have a few things you could do here. You've got 4 on the screen: SOAP note, procedure note, surgical note, and a follow-up visit. I can do all 4 of those, or I can just do my own. I could make my own custom prompt, like if it was a call-in person. Let's say that they just called in for something. I want to make a quick little note about her call-in visit. She was checking in on an adverse event that she had last week, and we're just doing a quick phone call follow-up. I can make a custom prompt for that because I don't have all the details, right? So instead of it saying I have no details, I can just say, hey, make this into a phone call summary. Here's my dictation for it, and it'll do that for you. So you can give it your own sort of custom rules. But I'm going to go ahead and make it a procedure note for me because I did do a procedure. I did Dysport on her forehead and her glabella, and I did lift on her cheeks. So procedure note, I'm going to go ahead and check mark to keep the original note. This is very important for telehealth because once you do ChartSmart, if this is not checked, the original note will go away. It'll be replaced by the new ChartSmart note. So if you want telehealth, for instance, you want to keep that same full transcript, it's going to stay in there for you, right? It's going to be there as long as you hit the button here and you make sure you're check marked. So if I did a really great dictation that was phenomenal, and then I hit the wrong kind of procedure, I said to do follow-up instead of procedure note, it's like, oh, I've done the wrong note, and now I don't have the dictation anymore. I can't go back and just change it. So I recommend that you always just go ahead and save it. And if you want to change your structure, your format, so starting over from scratch, you can just go back to that note again and just redo ChartSmart with that same exact dictation that you've already done. So click that button. I made that mistake early on. It was not good. So click that little check mark there to make sure that you keep the original. It's defaulted on for you, so unless you purposely unclick it, it will save it for you. So I'm already clicked. I'm good to go. I'm going to hit procedure note and hit save. And let's see what happens. It's always like the live demo. It's like, is it going to work? We hope so. So it's thinking right now, doing its thing here. Give it a second to go ahead and get through. And then once it builds up my note, you can see the little thing spinning here. Builds up my note, you're going to see the whole thing turn into now like a really nice formatted note, as we mentioned before, which you can now use anywhere you want to use it. So you could take that same note and put it into a health timeline if you want to do a follow-up for next time and just copy and paste it over. It's yours to use as you wish, but you have like a really nice little edited format that looks, again, like a true compliant note. So when you're on the screen at this point, you're like, what is this hashtag situation, Tiffany? What is this going on here? This is called Markdown format. This is what your AI tool generates for you. Once you hit save, it looks really nice and pretty and has bolds and like little headlines. But in this edit function in the beginning, it's going to look just like this. So the markdown hashtags, those will go away. Don't worry about that. It's telling our system to make it into a bold headline. So just ignore the hashtags. I promise they'll go away. So I'm going to go through and look at the bottom here. I've got, reduce the appearance, all the things that are kind of being answered. So it's a kind of a question answer format, just like your ChatGPT would do for you. I'm going to ask a question, get the answer. I'm going to ask it, do we have findings? Yes. Minimal bleeding, no compromise, etc. So it's kind of a Q&A sort of format all the way down the page. So again, I've got no complications. It just keeps going and going, right, until it satisfies all the things I've asked it to do in the prompt, which is behind the scenes, to make sure that the note is complete and robust. But I want to also go through and make some additional edits. So I can bring in my medical history and do my @call. So I can do my @call here and bring in, let's say, recreational drug use. No, random, but let's say anyway. I can also bring in a dot phrase. So my dot, let's see if I want to do toxin. So it brings in a different note for toxin. So the good news is if you've already done this prompting process, you've kind of worked on it a little bit here and there with ChartSmart, it will do a lot of things you're doing in dot phrases now, just already part of the whole system. So as opposed to going through making all these dot phrases, you can just have it in the note already, like what you've done, the area that you treated. You can still use your dot phrases for sure, but the ChartSmart note will give you probably more than you really need in the dot phrase, more robust at least. And so again, if you want to do it in the dot phrase, by all means you can. Bring it into this and hit save. But you'll just see here it's quick, right? I just hit dot, my new thing, or I hit my @call, and voila, it's part of my chart. I'm gonna go ahead and just delete those out for now though, so the note looks really nice and pretty. So get rid of those. Now again, I'm in markdown format. You see the hashtags. I'm gonna hit save, and you'll see it now save in a really nice structured format. So you see here, I have procedures performed, diagnosis. So we've gone from that really hideous looking hashtag situation to now a really nice, like a headline 1, headline 2, and it looks like a nice formatted note. Again, you have the same content, same context. You can make your changes. You can also go back through now and say, you know what, I don't like what I chose. I don't want to do a procedure note. I want to do a surgical note instead. You can go into ChartSmart and just change it. So I can go and do surgical note. I can do a follow-up visit. But here's the deal. If you do that, it's going to be doing it off of this already pre-engineered, pre-done ChartSmart note, which means I'm going to be taking a note on top of a note. So it might be, you might want to do it that way. You might be thinking, if I just hit edit, it's going to go back to the dictation tool and start all over. It's not. It's now using the input for this chart as this ChartSmart note. So don't do that. Instead, you can delete that note, right? We know how to delete that note. Hit delete. That note's gone. And then go back to your actual dictation that you saved, your original dictation that you saved. See right here? And do it on this particular note. So I'm going to hit edit here. And then I'm going to go through this note that I just dictated and start again. Because if you don't, it's already gotten rid of all the, it's trimmed the fat for you. You got rid of all the things you don't really need. And so if you try to layer it on top of that again, it might have needed those things that it got rid of. So make sure that you don't do a ChartSmart note, edit it, and then do another one. You want to go ahead and start back at your dictation tool from the beginning. So I'm going to go ahead and do it again, ChartSmart with this one. And maybe I'll pick a follow-up visit note. Who knows? It's going to look kind of crazy. Let's try a SOAP note. This is going to take the same things we just did and what we just looked through, but put it into SOAP note format. Again, using the actual native things that we recorded in the very, very beginning, the dictation tool from the beginning. So you're going to get vastly different versions of the same note, but again, just don't edit your existing ChartSmart note. Go back to the original dictation and edit from there. It's a big difference in what your outputs are going to be. So let this kind of cycle through here for a second. It'll show up again. And again, I already have my keep original formatted note just pre-checked, but it won't hurt anything to have it pre-checked there. So I'm going to go through now and look at this one. So now I have my S, my O, my A, my P. So you see here, the P is much more robust. It has all the different things I just had in my other note, which is much more aesthetic treatment focused. This is more of a true SOAP note. So you see a big part down there on the P. If I had done this again with my already generated SOAP or my already generated procedure note and then hit ChartSmart again, it would not have been nearly as clear as it is here. It would have gotten a little mumble jumble. So I going to go ahead and hit save, and then now we'll see this note is really nicely formatted. Looks great. My S, my O, my A, my P, all done for us here, and it looks like a really compliant, robust chart note for our procedure. So that's a cosmetic timeline, which is where you're doing obviously your pictures. You're doing more cosmetic type things. Let's say we're going to do a health visit instead. So on the health timeline, it looks a bit different. So I'm going to go ahead and just start that really quickly here. We'll go right into our health. We'll call this, I don't know, weight loss follow-up. So we can add our virtual visit here if we want to. We're not going to do that though. I'm going to go ahead and just do my dictation again. So I would have hit start dictation, done my whole song and dance with the dictation. Again, if patient's in the room with you, you can hit the button and just do an ambient charting if you want to, or you can hit dictation and actually do the dictation. So I'm going to grab my notes that I just did. We're going to be doing a weight loss patient on a follow-up visit. So put that in as if I just did my dictation. So now I have it here, ChartSmart. I'm going to do follow-up visit. So follow-up visit here, hit save, and we're going to see what happens for this one, because this is a patient that's already been in before for weight loss. She did her whole tirzepatide. Now she's losing some weight, feeling good, and she wants to know if she should be doing more weight loss, an increased titration of her dose or not. So we'll see that come up here in just a second. So on the health timeline, it looks a little bit different because you're going to have that box that kind of truncates your version of the note. So you'll see here again, markdown language. It's kind of a SOAP note hybrid if you're a follow-up visit. So we have all of our assessment, complications, et cetera, et cetera. I'll go ahead and just hit save on that one. We'll throw a questionnaire on there just to make it look good. We'll go ahead and save and exit. Now this box, again, looked crazy with markdown language on it, but now you see here it's very nicely formatted. And if I want to see the whole note in its entirety, this is also a new feature we have. Click View Entire Note, and then we see it here as a pop-up come out, and it's again nicely oriented, looks really good on the screen. So formatted chart with bullet points and such. So much better version of the text editor here than in the actual system if you just do it by typing. So that's really ChartSmart in a sense. So you just have a dictation, you put it in the system, you hit the button, and you get the chart. Now it is an additional part of AR, so it's not part of our just sort of native $19 a month, or depending on what subscription you're on, $15 a month subscription. It's going to be an additional sort of integration fee. So if you want to turn this on, which again, recommend that strongly, you do it by the chart. So you're going to go into your settings here, and you're going to go down to your billing and your subscriptions, and you'll see inside of this little area here, you've got some options. So you've got a start plan, pro plan, and unlimited plan. If you look at free.ai, which is another charting tool, they're like $129, I think, a month. Other tools have additional fees, $100 here, $100 there. The cool thing about this is that it's very affordable, depending on how much you're going to do, but also that it's just for aesthetics. So it doesn't have all the other things in it. It's only built for the way that we chart here. I think it's very helpful for you as a practice to know that it's part of the aesthetics vernacular. So if you see here, you've got a starter plan, $30 per month per account. You get 50 charts a month. You also get some that are, a little additional ones for free, but you get 50 charts per month, plus you get your 10 that you get when you sign up. I'm sorry, 5 you get when you sign up. But if you want this plan, you hit select, and if you want to go up some more, you can do $50 a month for 100 charts, or you have unlimited for 75. And that means you can do as many as you want with rework. You can, if we're all doing telehealth, we're all doing visits all month long, that's a much better deal. So if you're going to do more than that, I would go ahead and get the plan. If you don't, you can do pay as you go. So once you've exceeded your limit for the month, you just do pay as you go, and you just pay per chart each time you generate a chart until the next month rolls over and you have a new billing cycle. But you can also in that month upgrade if you need to upgrade. But I do think that if you look at the per chart fee, the time that it's going to save you, I mean, it's pretty massive what it saves you as far as this just hitting the button and going versus having to sit there and physically chart. So again, there is a plan to it. It's not a free service. It's part of, you have to do all the token consumption. You have to get all the transactions done with all the transcribing buttons. And there's a lot of things that go into this behind the scenes. So it does have a cost to it. That's a consumption cost for us that's charged here within the subscription. But the good news is if you, if you're using it a lot and it's saving you time, then you'll see quickly the benefit of having it in your system. And upgrading is pretty simple. You can also downgrade if you want to downgrade. But at the end of the day, the goal is to make it easy for you to be really compliant and robust with your charts. And it can all be done here with just ChartSmart. So if you've not yet, again, gone through the articles, I recommend going to the Learning Lab and looking at the articles and going through all of that kind of step by step and getting an idea of how it works for you in your workflow, and then just going and trying it out. So if you decide that you want to get one of these plans to try it out, and let's say you love the starter plan, you're doing it, you decide, you know what, I can't do this anymore, it's not for me, you can always just cancel it, but you will have the full billing cycle that you'll be charged. You can't get a refund for half the cycle. So once it's turned on, you get the full month. And then if you want to upgrade, you'll get like a prorated amount for the next month, with a little hangover amount, whatever that is, at the higher rate. And again, if you run out of charts and you don't want to upgrade, no worries, just do the whole pay-as-you-go function. and you can do that as far as until the actual billing date. If you look at your consumption, you can see that here as well, resource usage. Based on how many charts you actually purchase, like what your plan is, you can see here your monthly limit. So I've used 23. I've got limited amount for the month, so I've used barely even a smidgen. But you can see here where you are tracing each month to see if I need to get more or less, if I can make it the whole month or not. All here in your resource usage tab, which is also a great place to look at your text messages, your emails, etc. All the things are here. So that's ChartSmart from start to finish. All right, we're going to move over now. We're going to go to now our telehealth visits. I'm going to go ahead and walk you through a couple of things there with telehealth. So for telehealth, we have a brand new portal, which we're very happy about. That is part of our Twilio family. So if you guys know about our SMS, we use Twilio for SMS. So if you're using your OTP codes, Verify, any of that, it's all Twilio. If you have Lead AR, our phones are all Twilio. So if you're doing any calling with Lead AR, we're launching soon our virtual agent with Lead AR. It'll be answering phone calls for you. So big Twilio group here, and so we were able to get into a relaunch of their video or virtual portal to use for telehealth. So it's a whole new system. What we used a month ago is no longer here. We have all new partners, all new things. So it's a much better, much more robust system that will give you better transcripts for sure than we were having before, and just a much easier, cleaner experience for your patients. So part of this is all the things that are brand new. And there really are a big 5 list here. We have a professional background, so you can do some fun little backgrounds. If you want to upload your own image, you can, or you can use deserts and oceans and bookcases and things. Also, we have a new additional provider. So if you want to have a medical director join your call for you, you can now do 2 people. You can do yourself plus someone else, which I think is a really nice option for like a GFE. If I'm the one doing the visit with the patient and they decide they have to have an additional exam or a GFE clearance on a call, I can just bring in another provider into that call to do that for me. There's not a whole new visit to do. And also the experience is just better for patients for logging in. It's a quick OTP code, turning on their microphone and their camera is much easier now with the system. So it's just a much smoother process for the patient. And then this new option to resend the link, huge. Patients lose the links all the time. We know that. They can't find them in their email, or they use the one from 2 visits ago and it gets confusing. They can now, from your perspective, go in and hit resend link. They get the link immediately in their phone and their email, and they can join the call right then. So if there is an issue with the link at all, we can fix that now. That's brand new. And then lastly, it just has much better dictation. The transcripts are much cleaner. They're much better. They're more specific to our industry and our words. And also the ability to now use ChartSmart with this makes it chef's kiss. Makes it so easy for you. It makes it really robust. Great, incredible chart, but also having all the transcripts saved for you for the next visit if you ever want to look back on that. It's just easy and clean and makes life better. So we're going to go through and look at a telehealth visit. I'm going to go through AR and show you how I set this thing up first. So we're going to go and look at the booking of the appointment first, and we're going to go and look at the actual telehealth visit that we did to see how the whole thing kind of transpires on the portal. So if you are someone who's like, yes, this additional provider is awesome, I want to use that in my practice, it's a great function for me. When you are in your appointment settings here, go to create one. If I click on virtual, you're going to see immediately I have this new additional provider line pop up. So if it's in person, not there, but for the virtual, you're going to see a second line that says additional provider pops up immediately. So I'm Olivia, that's my booking name. I'm going to go ahead and add, let's say, I don't know, J. David. We're at Lovely Lines, and then for our services, I'm going to pick, let's say, virtual consultation. Hopefully he can do that. I know I can. Oh, he can't. So let me get somebody else that can do it. We'll go ahead and pick Margot. I think she can do it. So when you add your additional provider, there is a limit here about doing the procedure. Like they have to be able to actually do the procedure themselves. If they can't be the additional provider. So they have to have like the licensure to be able to be added to that procedure. So when you see my case, I can't get it to work. We'll do weight loss. I think she can do that one. So Olivia, Margot, Lovely Lines, weight loss. I'm going to pick the date. Now here's where it gets a little bit hairy. If you're trying to book both of our schedules together, it can be done, right? So I can look at her schedule, my schedule, and where do we overlay each other and pick those dates. Or I can say I don't really care about her schedule at all. It's not important to me. She's here all day long and she doesn't put herself on the schedule, so she can be on demand for us if we need her. So I can just ignore that schedule entirely. So I can, just like we would do at the after hours or the before hours and also the double booking, just hit the ignore button. So we're just going to ignore that. Her schedule to me is not relevant here. I'm just going to do what I want to do, and she'll get the note, she'll get the invite, and she'll join the call. So in my case, I'm going to go ahead and select the date, which now can be today. So I have open today. So I'm going to go ahead and pick, like, let's say 5:30 p.m. So I'll go ahead and put in Anastasia as our person, and I will show you how that looks as far as like the next steps within the appointment card. So we're going to go ahead and get Anastasia booked in here. So again, 2 options, just to reiterate this. Once I pick the second provider, I can either add them based on their schedule. So we have to be on the actual schedule on the docket together where you can see that she's booked in the schedule and is part of her actual time frame that she's available. Or I can say, forget her schedule, I don't care, ignore it entirely, just get her there. Just make sure that Margot is at that visit. I don't care about her schedule, her booking hours. So if she has her calendar totally closed off for the day, because she's going to be on vacation, but she can join this call, great, leave it closed off. I'm going to ignore that schedule and put it on her calendar. So the one thing I would say for your staff is make sure if they ignore this, that provider knows that they're still going to be in this call, because it's going to be on their calendar, on their appointment card, obviously. But if they're not on the schedule already, they may not know that. So if they're already booked on the schedule for the day and they're already in the office, easy peasy, right? I'm just looking at my list for the day. It's part of my list. But if I'm on vacation and I'm out of office, and this is on my schedule, I may not know to look at it and to actually join the call. So just make sure if you're okay with using the ignore button, that your staff knows to let that person know, hey, you're not on the schedule today at all, but I did put a visit on here as an additional provider for you for telehealth. So just a side note. I'm gonna go ahead and book that with Anastasia. And you can, if you want to do all your qualify stuff here, all the things you got to do that you could do from your visit. We won't do any of that stuff. We're not even going to send it here. We're just going to hit don't send. So now we have an appointment card that has her view and my view. So as Olivia, as me, primary, if I go into this visit and I look at the card, I am the primary provider. So now we have a primary and a secondary. So I'm number one in the list here. I can do things like mark as no-show, cancel it, reschedule it. It's within the same day here, so I can't reschedule really, but I can do whatever I want to do here on the card. I'm the primary person who can do all the things. The secondary person can't do as much as I can do. So I've got things here to resend links. I can join meetings, request qualified GFE. I am the go-to person. So on the provider chart of like who owns this patient, it's me. On the chart, if I do a chart note, it's my chart. So it's all going to be my name. So if you want to have a medical director be the second provider, make sure that they're going to put their name in somewhere in that chart as like a dot phrase. They were on that call with you, they joined the call with you, and that they did the actual GFE for you. So I'm going to look now at, I believe it was Margot's schedule. Look at how it appears for her as part of her schedule. So we have Anastasia here. Now again, she's number 2 on the list. She's not number 1. I am. So for her, it's a very small sort of just bare bones appointment card. We see again the patient. That's great. We can just see that it's the service, the date, the time. I can cancel it or just remove myself. So if I remove myself, that's fine. It can say, yep, do you want to do it? Remove it, yes. If not, go back. So if Anastasia is sitting here, Margot is sitting here saying, I can't make that, I'm on vacation, I'm in Disney World. Remove yourself, no big deal. She can remove herself from this visit. It does not affect the visit at all. The visit still stands, but she can just take herself off the list so that she's not part of this like number 2 role anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and go back. I can also go to the main visit and do it. So if I'm like, hey, I'm looking at my calendar, I want to make some changes to it because now I've talked to Anastasia on two-way text messaging and she said, hey, I can't come in today. I want to move it to tomorrow. If I click this button here to go to the main schedule, I'm now in the main appointment card and I can make the main appointment card sort of changes here that you just saw under my schedule. So although it's not her visit, she's now in the main card. She can do other things she wants to do for the overall visit, like check them in, mark as no-show, etc. So again, if you're number 2 on the list, you have visibility. You can remove yourself, but you can't do a lot of the other things in here, like resending a link or marking as no-show, etc. So just make sure if a person's like, I can't see anything in this card, like I can't do any of the things I want to do, it's because they're not the main provider. Click that button and go to the main provider card, and you'll see it right there. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to actually visit with the patient. We're going to do our telehealth visit with our patient Macy. So she's coming in today, so we're going to go ahead and start that call and have her join us here, and we'll also have a second provider as well and get that going. So let's go ahead and start that right now. So I'll go ahead and click on that first. I'm using my desktop, obviously. You can do this from your iPad if you want to. I just find it more convenient here to see it on my desktop. So I'm going to go ahead and click there. You'll see join meeting. If for any reason they did not get the link, you can always hit resend link. So if you have a patient who says I can't get into it, or the link is not working, or things are broken, click resend link. It'll send out to the patient right then. They can click on their phone or on their desktop, and they'll be in the meeting. So I'm going to go ahead and join. And I'll have a little bit of an authentication part in the beginning, depending on if you've done this already for the day or not. And for me here, I've got settings to change. So whether that's audio and video settings, your background, however you want to work this where it looks like how you want it to look, you can do it all from here from the screen. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I've got the right camera. I use my little FaceTime camera here. So you get a double me, yay you. And then the second thing here is audio. I'm going to go ahead and just use my typical speakers here on my MacBook. And then if you want to use a webcam, you can. If you want to use an external microphone, you can. Whatever you want to do, like for a Zoom call, you can do it here as well. I just have my basic software here, basic technology. So I'm going to click join now. You see my name here, confirm it is you. And as a reminder, if you're not the main provider or the additional provider, you cannot join the link. You've got to be part of the appointment to be able to click the link and to get into the visit. So I'll go ahead and join now. So I'm here and I'm waiting for my patient to show up. And you can see here the dictation on the bottom of the screen is happening in real time. So as I'm talking, it's recording all of this. And at the end of it, it'll do the whole note for me with this entire transcript. So it's going fast here. I can also do things like the background. So I'm gonna go ahead and look at that while we're waiting here. For the background, I can put myself like on a beach. I can put myself on a bookcase. I can do all kinds of fun things wherever I want to go. So let's see if we want to put one of these in here or not. We can, I guess. Let's see. You know what? Actually, we'll do none. Well, let's go to the ocean. So now here I am in the ocean, and it looks like I'm in the middle of a fun little vacation. So we now have our patient on. So Macy has joined us. Hello, patient. Can you hear me? Yep, there she is. And then I think for Margot, our other provider, she's going to get her camera turned on. We'll be able to see her. Yep, so there's our other provider. So hello, Margot. So as we kind of rearrange here, you're going to see people who are small or who are big. But as far as Macy's concerned, she's on an actual, like a phone. So you see her vision's going to be this way, a vertical, where we have Margot on a horizontal. So we're all three here in the window together. And the cool thing is, if I wanted to share my screen, I could. I could take my little share button here, hit that, and I could share, let's say, my AR system, or I could share a ChartSmart example. So let's say I want to share this here. It works just like Google. When you have a Google Meet, you'll see it here. You don't see the visit anymore. You just see what you're sharing on the screen. So I want to hit stop sharing. We're all back together again. I just go back over here to our little record tab, and we're all back here together again. So at the end of this visit, you'll see if they were both talking, which, Macy, do you want to say something? Unmute your screen.
Hello.
Yeah, so she comes through, and as she starts talking, you can see it says Macy Robinson on it. It's going to transcribe her voice, so it knows which person's which person. So as I look at the transcript at the end, it would say like Macy, it would say Olivia, and it would say Margot, and all of our different people who are talking. So in that big ChartSmart note at the end, you'd be able to see who said what things. And so in the note, the follow-up, it's all there together for you. And then again, as you look at the notes at the end, I will show you how to do ChartSmart, so you'll know what to do with that. But it's pretty simple. How was the experience getting into the portal, Macy? Was it just like an OTP code, pretty easy?
Yeah, super easy. I just clicked the link, got my OTP code, and then hit verify, and then I was in.
It's pretty easy. So as long as your phone has the settings approved to do camera and audio, you're good to go. All right, ladies, I'll go ahead and let you disconnect, and we'll sign off. But that's how easy it is to get on telehealth. So pretty simple for you. But the cool thing about the new portal is you do have these cool backdrops, which I do love, but also the second provider, and also for the patient, an easier login experience, and for you to be able to, the ability to share your screen. So if you have labs to go through, you can look at their whole like lab history, put that on the screen and go through it step by step by step, and you can see it all together here in the share screen option. So that is new. It's in your system today. It has been since right after Aesthetic Next. And so you'll be able to see that ASAP. If you've not done a webinar, haven't done a virtual visit yet, do one and you can see how it works for you. All right, well, now I just hit disconnect and it's over. And so as soon as I end that visit, that transcript goes into my AR system as soon as I connect it to the appointment. So we'll do that next and walk through how the ChartSmart connects to it and the dictation tool connects to it. So you can actually get that transcript in your system as a record for the patient. I'm going to show you what we actually said here on our telehealth visit. And so as you can see our transcript, it's not relevant at all. So we're going to change that before we do the ChartSmart note. But I want to let you watch how fast it connects to the appointment. So we're going to do this as our virtual consult. I'm going to choose today's visit. Weight loss. My name, Olivia, obviously. 11 lines. Procedure type is going to be just a consultation. So when we did our little consult here, we have all this information that we've kind of popped into here from our talk. So you see quickly, it has my name, it knows it's me, right? Because my screen is labeled with my name on it. So it knows it's Olivia. You also have Macy on here. What you don't see is that Margot Parker was talking as well, or she was on the call, but she didn't talk at all. So she was like a sort of a silent person on the call. So in the transcript, she's not there at all. So if you want to note that in your ChartSmart note, you're going to put that she was on the call. If for any reason, they don't talk at all, and you want to make sure that there's a note that they were on that visit, put it in your little ChartSmart note so they can actually see them here. So this is the whole function of like, I've done the call, I hit the button. As soon as I connect it to my health procedure right here in the appointment settings, when I go ahead and connect it, it will immediately show that transcript. Now, again, it's a much better version, much better transcription than it was last time. It knows more words. It knows our entire market, our industry, what we do. It knows like Botox, Dysport, Daxify, Juvederm, all the words. So it knows things, I would say. So it's going to be a much better transcription, but it's going to also be instant. So it's robust, it's complete, but it's also very fast. So again, just like in the dictation tool before, if you were on the call with telehealth right now and you were doing this in live, a live function, It's going to be transcribing it on the screen for telehealth as you saw, but not in this until you actually go back and connect it at the end. So it's not anywhere until you finish the call, you hit cancel or you hit done, then it shows up here. So we have our note here, which again is kind of crazy. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that because it's not going to be helpful at all for us. So it won't be a good medical version of a note. So I'm going to go ahead and go back over and grab my ChartSmart note that I've already done on a call with telehealth between Dr. Chin and Marcus. So I cleared out all the things with Macy's conversation that we just saw, and instead I replaced it with an actual telehealth transcript from a different visit. And you see here we have Dr. Chin talking, we have Patricia talking. This will be our real transcript from that visit. So again, what I did live was not very good. So we did it again instead with an actual note from a telehealth procedure. So you have it all here in the list. And again, you want to save this, right? You want to keep this as your actual transcript. So it's going to save it as a note, as the full transcript from start to finish. You're going to then overlay, if you want to, which I recommend strongly, your ChartSmart note on top of that. So you could also say, I'm not going to do the transcript at all. Like I have it and it's in my notes, but I'm not going to use it in my ChartSmart. Instead, you can redictate what you want to dictate. So if you do that, just note that when you finish the telehealth visit, if ChartSmart is turned on, it's going to show that whole transcript here. So we had a person that recently chatted in saying, I don't want the transcript of my notes. The goal is that you hit ChartSmart and that it's done. So it's going to put the whole thing in this screen for you. If you just hit the ChartSmart button and click procedure note or follow-up note, whatever it is that you're going to click, it goes away and looks really nice and formatted. So don't think of it as an additional step. It's to make it easy for you to just click the prompt and go. So you want it to come here because if not, you got to go copy and paste it from the other screen and put it into this screen. Not worth it. Just it's all here for you if you have ChartSmart turned on. If you don't have it turned on right now, it's still going into your notes like it has always done. But if you have ChartSmart turned on, it's going to go into this blank so you can do it quickly. So again, if I've just done the whole visit, it's, let's say it's an hour, 30 minutes, however long it is, then this next part is like 5 seconds long. So ChartSmart, I'm going to go through and look at I don't know, we'll just say a soap note. That's a good one here. Again, I'm check marked here to keep it. Hit save. We're going to get, again, our note here, and the full transcript is going to be saved as our original note, but now we have a new ChartSmart note. So if you are looking at this saying, I don't want that note again, and that little block has become a big issue, I just click a button and hit soap note, and now I have a chart. So I don't have to go do anything else. It's all here. I don't have to delete anything. It goes away. It replaces it with this new really fancy note that's going to show up. So it's syncing right now, doing its little thing. And again, it will take it a second, right? We're looking at an LLM. We're going out to ChatGPT. We're having to transcribe everything, look through it, get the new solution, bring it back into our system. So give it a second to do that. A lot less time it would take you or I to do it, but still it's going to take it, 30 seconds or so to get it all done. So you see here now I have my subjective, I've got my objective, it's all here. I've got my A1C, I've got my BMI. All things that I need from that visit that are relevant to really a chart are going to be here now in a really organized format. So you see again that telehealth transcription went away. It's not there anymore, it's gone. Now it's again in markdown format, so you see our little hashtags here, but it's all here for me, right? So I can see everything here. If I wanted to add additional notes, I can go ahead and add those in here, or again, do my at call and add some things from her, from her history. No exercise, that's a big deal, so we might want to add that, or if we have a dot phrase for this for weight loss. So again, easy to do, right? So I'm going to go ahead and just hit save on this, and we'll see the markdown format go away as we did before. So go ahead and save and exit. And so we now have, again, the original save. I'm going to show you the original that was not very good that we did that was saved. So if we look at our view notes section here, had it been the original, and I didn't replace it with one that was more relevant, you see here I've saved mine and Macy's conversation. So Olivia's talking, Macy's talking. So again, it's going to save it here for you as your transcript from telehealth. So different than the other. So if you're in cosmetic and you're going to dictate something and that little check mark is not checked, it will go away entirely. For telehealth, it's going to save that transcript here no matter what you do. But if you go and change that at all and you want to do a new dictation, do a new note format, and you want to save that and also do another version of that same note, then you got to save it. So here, as long as you've done the transcript and connected to your appointment visit, it's going to be in here as a perpetual note for you. But you see here at the bottom, the one that I just put in. So if we were going to start with Dr. Chin instead, here's the original note that I just did with him. And then we go back to our visit and we see a really nice formatted, really well-structured note here. And again, if I want to see the whole thing, hit view entire note. And then it's right there for me to look at and go through on the telehealth side. So in any case, you've got a, again, well-structured note. And so the goal is that when I'm a medical provider and I go into my provider room and I go start doing all my charts and checking off and signing things, I have really nice, well-done procedures to look through and really robust charts so that there is no back and forth. I'm not doing the whole signing and sending to my MD and they're sending it back saying, you forgot this thing, you forgot this part, Olivia, you don't have this thing. my little user here, Olivia, she's doing the best she can right in her practice. So she's busy, busy, busy. So for her to get it all done in one fell swoop from her dictation tool is awesome. It goes to her MD. He or she says, yes, this is good to go. They sign it. We move on. There's not a lot of missing parts here. So this will, I think, reduce the overall workload for your practice, for your staff, because you have good things in the front end. So in either case, I recommend using it strongly. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, what do we do with this? How do we know what to actually dictate? We don't do dictation a lot in our practice. Like, how do we know what to say, what to do? I'm going to pull up a document for you and show you. This is part of the Learning Lab articles that you'll see, and also the updates articles. If you go to the updates.aestheticrecord.com, that whole little section on the what's new, you'll see it here as well. But I did provide to you a really easy to follow template. So if you go grab your document there, you'll see here we've got everything from the note template, what to actually dictate, what to say. So I've got details for toxin, filler details, also for the injectable procedures, like what's a concise dictation checklist. So if you're new to dictating, like let's say you have not been doing a lot of dictating in your professional history, and you want to get started on it and do it really well, just follow these prompts and you'll get used to it pretty quickly. But it gives you a pretty easy to follow, easy format flow for what to say, for it to get what it needs to give you a really great note. Because again, the ChartSmart prompt is already built. So we've already built a note prompt that tells you what you need for procedure notes, the follow-up notes, the soap notes. It's all done for you, painstakingly I might add, but it's all done for you. So as long as you give it what it needs, you kind of feed the beast, it'll give you back a really well done note. If you forget a bunch of stuff, or you forget to say that you used a cannula or a needle, or you didn't use an alcohol wipe, or you didn't use some an anesthetic on the face for pain numbing, whatever it is, whatever you forget, it's just going to leave it blank for you. You just won't have that part of the note done. But if you want to make sure to include all that, just kind of get in the groove of following a sort of a formatted version of your dictation so that you hit all the parts and pieces. And again, if you don't, the world's not going to end. Go through the edit function, just like add stuff into your edited note. So if you don't do it right the first time, no big deal. Go back in and just hit edit and make your note a little bit more robust. But at the end of the day, if you go through and just sort of get used to this dictation flow, the format flow of it, I think it'll become kind of second nature for you. And you have all of them here. So you have generic formatted notes. And if you want to do your own custom prompt, what I would recommend that you do is make sure that you know how to write a prompt. So if you are in the aesthetic record system, you're like, you know what, I want to do my own prompt. I like how I do it. If you're in that ChartSmart menu and you want to say, you know what, I do my own thing here, my own custom prompt, all you have to do is go through and actually do your custom prompt. So let's say I'm in my health timeline here. If I want to do ChartSmart, let me put something in here. Let me put in a paste and do ChartSmart here. What I want to be able to do is to tell it how I want to operate. So this has to be a good prompt. So if you were just to write, make a medical chart that says what I did today, that's a terrible one. That's a really awful prompt. So if I hit save, what it's going to do, I have no idea. I've not tried this. I tend to write more robust prompts than that. So it's going to give you something. I don't know what, but it's going to give you something. So it's not going to give you what you want. So if you want to do a custom prompt, make sure it's a good one. If you're like, what does that even mean? If you go to ChatGPT and say, hey, you can even upload this document that I just gave you, this like template document, and say, hey, these are the current templates that I have for my AI charting tool. I want to be able to do XYZ instead. I need a note that shows me XYZ. Can you turn this into a custom prompt that I can give my AI charting tool in order to get the chart that I want? Whatever it gives you as the output, save that somewhere in your notepad, do a whole copy paste and save it, and then just use it as your custom prompt. But if you ever want to know how to talk to ChatGPT, just ask it. How can I tell you what I want you to do based on the things I want you to do? And it will tell you exactly how to do that prompt every time. And just put that prompt into AR, hit go, and it will give you that exact answer. So here you see it gave me a soap note because the most likely note for medical procedure is a soap note. So this one actually wasn't so bad because it gave you what you could physically use, but it wouldn't have all the check boxes. It wouldn't have all the things that I want to make sure I include, especially in injectables, if I didn't have our version. So all that to say, if you want to do a custom prompt, by all means, I say go do it, go play with it, go try it out. But make sure you're on a good one that gives you what you want out of it. And if you're like, I don't have time for that, like if you already done it for me, I'm good, then just use the 4 we've already given you, and you'll be good to go with those 4 that we have, that we've already given you here in the system. So, but definitely go out, click the link in that what's new or in the link in the Learning Lab and get that little dictation procedure format or template. It'll be really helpful for you, I think, as you go through and start doing this on your own. But with that, that's really all I have for you guys tonight. Hopefully it's been helpful, and you can see how ChartSmart works and how this could be really beneficial for your practice. And again, if you don't have it turned on yet, go into your settings to get that done, your admin settings at the top, get it done, go into your resources and your subscriptions and go ahead and just turn it on really quickly there. And again, you can change it each month, you can add more, you can take more away, whatever you want to do with that, it's all there for you. But also in telehealth, if you've not done virtual visits yet, I recommend that you start doing them. They're awesome for follow-up visits. So if you don't want to have them come back in for like their 2-week checkup for toxin, if it's not important for you to actually see them and try to upsell something, do virtual. It's so much easier. Or weight loss consults, or even skincare for your estheticians. It's great on virtual. There's no cost to you for virtual. It's a part of your subscription. So if you want to do virtual visits every single day, it's easy for you because it's already part of the subscription. There's no additional tool. Again, it saves a transcript in here for you automatically. Even if you don't use ChartSmart, it still saves a transcript for you. So if you're not using virtual yet, go try it out. It's awesome. We love our virtual format here. Virtual telehealth is a big part of a lot of practices. So if you're not using it, try it out. And again, if you want to use ChartSmart, it makes it even better. So with all that, we hopefully got all your questions answered in the chat and in the Q&A. And if not, we'll get those to you ASAP, either in the AR community or also on just email or an SMS back to you. So thanks for coming on tonight. Hopefully you find a lot of value in this. And I will see you guys all next time for our next big feature release. Bye, guys.